Never dull, is it? Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Pride Park. Wow, first and foremost, what a game. And I think it's a shame, and I'm probably going to do it as well, so I'm guilty of it as anyone else, but it's a shame after a game like that, a championship clash like that you end up probably speaking far too much about a decision and officials, really, because there's so much of that game that I think everyone should have enjoyed and would have enjoyed. But yeah, look, let's start. It went out. There's no point disputing it. It was clearly out. It's a really poor decision from the linesman who was in close proximity to it. I need to watch back because I think from his position there might have been a couple of bodies between him. But yeah, for a situation like that, you've got to be certain. You've got to be absolutely clear that it's in play. And to be fair, when the goal went in, he did that, flag down and running back to the centre circle and gave the goal pretty quickly. So he was definitive in terms of his decision. But any still that you see, any replay that you see, it was out. And actually, look, I think the thing is, and I've heard Giannis Hoftorek make the case for VAR in his press conference and whatnot. And I think actually, if VAR would have been on it, I think it probably ends with a Norwich penalty because Cashin has clearly handled the ball to block Josh Sargent's shot before that even happened. So. That's that situation out of the way. We can park it. It was definitely out of play. Norwich have got really fortunate. Again, in the analysis, it's going to be lost, but a brilliant finish from Borja as well to flick the ball, which was behind him, into the net. Again, irrelevant maybe in the final analysis of it. But there we go. It's done. 1 minute 30 into this. We don't need to discuss it again. And we can speak about the game of football, even though I've seen a still as well of Norwich's third goal, which looks like that may well have been out of play as well. But anyway, it doesn't matter. And Derby's second goal should have been chalked off for offside. So, there we go. Not a good day for that linesman in particular, because I think that was all up at his end. But we digress. Anyway, Norwich have won here 3-2. Chaotic, dramatic. Yeah, just a breathless game of championship football, really. And probably one that I feel stood here today, Norwich deserved to win. I thought they had the better opportunities. I thought they were the better team for the bulk of the contest, barring some spells in the second half. They've probably got Angus Gunn to thank as well that they've come out of here, and their defence as well. I thought Jose Cordoba was excellent. I thought Shane Duffy was excellent. And the first half, to be honest, Norwich had a lot of the ball. It took them I thought they were a little bit too slow with how they moved it. They didn't just, and it's credit to Derby really, because the defensive shape that they create here is so strong, and it's not just the shape they create, it's how quickly they get back into their rest defence and how quickly they reset, and it makes it so difficult to find those passes through and to create moments. But Norwich were patient, if a little bit too slow at points to move the ball. But what it did was it starved Derby of control, and when the ball did come Derby's way, they really struggled with the quality of it to sustain passes. And I think, I saw some stats before the game that they're amongst the worst in the championship in terms of having those longer spells of possession. So Norwich started on the ball. They grew into it probably without really creating anything materially. The better chances, certainly the first one, fell to Caden Jackson, who's just completely sliced through the ball and put it wide. I'm sure he was absolutely desperate to score today, given his allegiances to a certain team in Suffolk, but alas not. But I felt Norwich were worthy probably of having a one-goal lead heading into the break for the amount of territory and amount of dominance they did have. Borja had a shot that flashed wide. There was a couple of chances, one where Josh Sargent was played through before the goal, and it was just a little bit too much on the pass for him to try and dink over the goalkeeper. And then obviously they do score on the brink of half-time, and this place erupts. I mean, I had people just down here, actually, who for some reason turned around and decided that it was my fault or it was our fault that goal had been given. I don't know why they were angry with us, but there we go. As I said, the ball was clearly out of play, but the goal itself is crafted well, and it comes from Norwich moving the ball pretty well, and Josh Sargent getting sent through. Unlucky with the first effort, but look, you have to play to the whistle as much as the decision is the decision, and it is out of play. You have to keep going. Norwich, credit to them, they did. Sargent gets it across and Simon flicks it in. But I think the atmosphere that engulfed this place was one of injustice. There were chants about the EFL. There were frustrations about the linesman who got absolutely berated when he came out for the second half. Look, I understand it. I'm a football fan. If that's your team, you can completely understand why the Derby fans feel so aggrieved, because it's a moment that obviously flips the game, and games change games. They alter the dynamic of games. And in the second half, really, Derby used that injustice, and they used it and utilised it in the right way to really pile some momentum on, and they did that through winning duels, second balls. It wasn't, it was more blunt instrument and blunt force that got them up the pitch and got momentum behind them. They were winning free kicks. Norwich were sloppy in possession as well, I felt, in that initial phase, and probably just let the atmosphere get to them a little bit. And we weren't playing with that same calmness, and probably didn't opt to go, which they did really well last weekend. They used Cianach as an outlet to sort of play through quite a high press at points. There wasn't that ability to do that at stages either, and they just got a little bit caught, and there were mistakes, and every mistake and every turnover and every situation, every set piece just whipped this crowd up into a frenzy even more. And then eventually, obviously, the goal does come, corner, which Norwich, to be fair, I felt defended pretty well over the course of the afternoon. The first phase is cleared, it's headed clear, I think, by Cordoba. It drops down, it's a good finish from Forsyth through a host of bodies, no chance for Angus Gunn. And from there, I think your fear is, with the momentum, with the way that Derby were playing, that Norwich were then going to really struggle to get themselves back into the contest, that almost the momentum was too far gone. But actually, they composed themselves nicely, and it was a good response to the goal, I felt. Not just the goal, but how they reacted more generally, to keep the ball, to have those spells of possession, to get themselves up the pitch, to relieve a little bit of growing pressure on them. And the second goal is really well crafted, and I think Josh Sargent, probably for both goals, really deserves a huge amount of credit, but for the second one more so, because he creates the space. It's his run, it's his move, it's his dragging of defenders that creates that space for Borja to push the ball out in front of him. But yeah, take nothing away from the finish. It's an excellent finish. And then the third goal as well, it comes from a free kick for Derby. It's saved. Gunn pushes it out. Stacey keeps it in, maybe, probably not. It then gets cleared upfield. Norwich, really nice break. Slimani with a clip ball over to Sargent. He commits a lot of space, and it's a brilliant outside of the boot ball for Borja to sort of bundle it in the end. And that put Norwich 3-1 up. And it should have been pretty comfortable from there, but it never is with Norwich, is it? We know that. And they did put themselves under more pressure. I think this goal is offside. I don't think it should be given. I'm probably not in a position really to complain about the officials today, but just as the first one was out, this one was offside. There's a player clearly obstructing Gunn's line of vision, but it's a good finish from Blackett. Blackett Taylor, maybe. I'm gonna have to check that now because I fear I've got that wrong. But a really good finish, and then it makes the game probably unnecessarily nervy for Norwich, and it allows Derby to push men into the box, to take risks, to basically put the game on top of them. They brought on Grant Hanley to try and deal with it. They didn't, or they did. Sorry, just about survived a few scares, and there were a few moments. It was Blackett Taylor, thankfully, and there were just a few moments that they had to survive. But look, it's those moments, as difficult as they are to endure, as much as they probably age us all or take years off our lifespan, but that's what builds the togetherness. That's what binds those kind of deep bonds, I think, between players, having moments like that and having wins like that as well. And as I said right from the outset, I think if you strip away all the controversy, all the drama, Norwich City had better chances than Derby across the piece. Didn't have as many of them, but the ones they did create were of better quality. I felt they controlled periods of this game more so than Derby did. And I think nobody can really have complaints that they've come away with a win. Could Derby have nicked a point? Absolutely. And again, I think if they had have done, then maybe a few people could have complained. But yeah, what a win. First of all, I mean, you have to say that from a Norwich City perspective after probably what was Hofball in motion last week. This was very different. This was about character. It was about depth. It was about personality. It was about survival as well at moments. They had to survive waves of real pressure. And Derby put it right up amongst them. And there's a reason this has been such a difficult place to come for teams. They haven't conceded a goal here in 7. They've won 9 on the bounce since February, since Charlton beat them 2-1. It's an incredible record that they've amassed here, and it's not for the faint-hearted. So for Norwich to come here and to leave not just with a point but 3 points, to have taken 9 from a possible 12 in their last 4 games, it speaks volumes, I think, about the progress that they're making. This is a very different type of win to Watford, just as satisfying, but those fundamental principles, the way they want to play, the structures they create, that doesn't change. It didn't change. And I think that is probably what is really encouraging here today. The fact that Norwich have done it their way, but probably with a little bit of grit, and done it a slightly different way to what they did it last week, where we were just raving about structures and build-up structures. This was about intangibles as much as those structures as well. And as I said, there was a chance late on. I think it fell to Jackson, and Gunn produces a mega save, spreads himself big, and then Collins is offside as well. And that was all she wrote, really. Forson had a shot from the halfway line, which was fun. We had goalkeepers going up for corners. It was a pulsating game of Championship football, and that's why the frustration is going to be that for days rumbling on now, it's going to be about officials and decisions and what should and shouldn't have been given. But that's the nature of the game that we're in, I'm afraid. And I think you have to zoom out a little bit and appreciate what Norwich have done here today, because to produce a performance like that in a place like this, with the run that they're on, with the type of side that they are, there aren't going to be. My feeling is that there won't be too many teams that come away from here this season with wins, because of the way that they play, because of the energy and expenditure, because of their style of play. It's so different to maybe what other teams experience or try and create. And I mean that as a compliment. They're so strong at set pieces as they were today. I think they created the most of their expected goals returned from set pieces. So Norwich have had to work hard, and I think the reality is when the full-time whistle is or when and you see 5, 6, 7 yellow shirts just sprawled out on the turf, I think it probably speaks volumes about the effort that they've put in, and that deserves a huge amount of credit. And Paul Warne referenced it, but again, Norwich tried to create those structures with the inverted fullbacks. It always gives them an out route, and they did that very well in the first half. It became a little bit more disjointed in the second, but they did regain control of it before they made it a little bit more nervy for themselves later on. Let's speak about Borja then. I think I've not triple and double checked this yet, but I think that's the first hat trick since was it Temid Buki in the 7-0 against Huddersfield. I'm sure you'll all shout me if that's wrong, but obviously I've not been able to post match get the books out and check it. But the irony is, I think that Borja lost the ball a lot today and lost the ball in areas that really killed some Norwich attacks. And I don't highlight that to squash the achievement, but more to highlight the trade-off I think we're in, which is you have to accept that those elements, the overly emotional, poor decision-making at point elements, with the brilliance in front of goal. It's 7-7 for him now. It's been a brilliant start. We're still stood here going, he should have scored 2 more at Swansea. He could have taken this moment or that moment. And he has started the season on electric form. And I think the fact that we're probably all stood here going, there's more to come from him, is a testament to his talent, first and foremost. He is incredibly frustrating because you have the hat trick on one side, and you have the flicks in silly areas, you have the giving the ball away in other areas. And again, there'll be some, no doubt about it, under Torup, under Riddlesholm, under this coaching team. Borja is going to get better even from where he is at the moment. But what he is a real quality goal getter and a goal sniffer. And the finish for the second goal probably epitomises it for me. That ability to place the ball with real accuracy, with power to beat the goalkeeper. I spoke to him after the game. It's the first time I've ever spoken to Borja because his English is not so good, but he was good. He was, as you'd imagine, really after a hat trick, confirmed that's the first of his senior career, and basically dedicated it to Josh Sargent. And I think that is where, again, we probably won't get remembered much in the final analysis, but Sargent's created 2, maybe all 3 of those goals. 2 directly, pull back for the first one, was out of play, by the way, definitely. And yes, there was handball as well in that build-up. And the third one, obviously, we're talking about direct assist, but the second one is the most impressive. That run that he creates, that decoy run to pull 2 defenders away, to create the space that Sainz can gallop into, but also give himself a yard just to push the ball out of his feet and then whip it into the far corner. Josh Sargent maybe hasn't been rewarded in terms of goals yet so far this season, but in terms of what he's giving to the team, and I think I spoke about this a little bit after Coventry, he gives them an outlet. He's such a good runner, a willing runner. He works tirelessly. He's a threat. He occupies centre-backs. He creates space for other players. I think as an all-round number 9, I've said this before, I think there are probably individuals in this league who are better at individual things. There are players that are faster than him. There are players that are stronger than him. There are probably better finishers than him in this league. But as a complete package, as somebody who's capable of all of those attributes, I'm not sure there's a better all-round number 9 at this level. And Norwich are incredibly lucky to have him in my point of view. And then finally, I really wanted to end it with probably some talk and some praise and some hype for Norwich's back 3. Angus Gunn, just tremendous, that man. In the moments that matter, when he needs to produce saves, he produces them. That final save was so good. Yannis Oftor pushed him out from the crowd after a player had got a hat-trick, pushed him out from the crowd for special recognition. He's the reason, really, that as much as Borja really, that Norwich have left here today with 3 points, because it's an unbelievable save late on to prevent that from going in the back of the net. Derby hit the bar as well, a shot from Cashin from range, which, wow, I think that bar's still shaking probably from that. It was some strike. But and then Cordoba, excellent again. I think, again, the amount of times that he recovers and sweeps up and mops up, and the risk that he allows Norwich to take with their back line is brilliant. There's going to be times when he gets it wrong, and there are times where he recovers and he looks a little bit clumsy. But by and large, he's excellent in terms of the ball progression, but also his athleticism and his ability to allow Norwich to play over a higher line. It's such a useful asset to this side. And I think probably the last two results. But I wanted to say Shane Duffy, who he had a difficult start to the season. He was involved in that ordeal at Oxford. He had a really tough afternoon against Blackburn. There was a lot of question marks around his place in the team after that. But I think from that period, he has he's really sort of pushed the bar up and really pushed what his performances up to a standard which are incredibly impressive. So he deserves a huge amount of praise for I think what he's done so far this season, because he has, after a tough start, really come through it. And I think what I've liked about what he's done in possession is there's been no real flicks or tricks. There's been not the sort of progressive passing that Callum Doyle has done or Jose Cordoba has done. It's been quite simplistic, but the defensive security he offers Norwich and the physicality he offers Norwich, now coupled with what is some really intelligent use of the ball, is really good and really encouraging. And I think there should be lots of praise for him tonight as well, because that partnership was really important in terms of Norwich City seeing out this result. So there we go. Big win, big win. 6 points, I said, from 6. Back-to-back victories, and I think after all the sort of chatter about inconsistency, that's an important step to make for Yanis Hoftorp's side, and obviously ahead of a big week as well. They've got 2 Carrow Road games against Leeds and against Hull, so I think they've probably taken a little bit of pressure off those two now with this points return. But it does feel like they've got momentum, and it does feel like something's building here now in terms of results, maybe matching performances a little bit. So Norwich are consistently playing well. They are consistently having more of the ball, creating better chances, maybe not necessarily more chances, but better chances than their opponents. And they're now getting the results to back that up. So that's a positive. There we go. From Pride Park, a chaotic afternoon. I'm off for a lay down, and I'll see you all at Carrow Road on Tuesday night. Thanks for watching.